This video is a series of clips that I have shot and edited while working on the vehicle, but those segments haven't found a good happy place in any of the videos that I have released so far. And here's a typical example of one of those things. I'm Andrew St Pierre White. Join me as I share my passion for building four-wheel drive trucks and travelling to the remotest parts of the world. These videos are made possible by contributions from Patreons. Join the Patreon family now. I'm going to start with the interior, the sound insulation. I saved a lot of weight and I'll show you how I did that. Here's a little bit of insight into what I'm doing this morning. I've taken out the seats because I have the Recaros ready to fit, but now all of these cables you see here have been temporary because I'm running the sound amplifier and a few other bits and pieces, but now I'm running cables permanently. It will now take the power cable from the bonnet, we run it on here, the amplifier cables, amplifier trigger cable, those are speaker cables, and I'm going to lay them out neatly. On top of this, which is dampening mat, I'm going to lay this, which is the waterproof carpet underlay. And I cut it into squares or tiles and basically cover the entire area. But I've had to take off Toyota's, this is recycled carpet, because the trouble is with this stuff, it's reasonably effective, not nearly as effective as that, but when it gets wet it rots very quickly. So it also is, in the case that I might get the interior wet, it won't rot. And this will also be used in the up the firewall as far as we can go to insulate engine noise and road noise from the front wheels. What I've also done is I've removed the bracket that clamps on Toyota's miserable center console, and of course going to replace that with a fridge. So I'm going to create mounting points here for the fridge plate, and then from this point around the handbrake, front of the handbrake, goes the console. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to put some paint on this, just want to make sure that there are no surfaces that could possibly cut if a cable moved over them or something. Not that I'm going to run a cable over them, but I want to make sure that there are no sharp edges at all there. And that is the fuel tank inspection plate, and I think I'm going to use that and these two mounting holes. If I upgrade those and make those a lot stronger, I can use those to hold down the fridge. So next, the seats, the Recaro seats. I ordered another set of Recaros. I had them in the Dream Tourer. I bought another set for this car because my back can't handle the standard seats for very long. I learned something very interesting. I dropped the price of my Dream Tourer so I could sell it, and one of the ideas was in fact to take the Recaros out and put them in here, and I couldn't do it. I found out that while the seats look identical, I know the mountings are different, but the seats are different too. And I learnt through a great deal of effort, the seats are not interchangeable, because I didn't keep the original seats from the 79 when I fitted the Recaros. I got rid of them, which was a mistake. So I did actually I had to leave the Recaros in there and buy new ones. What's very nice about these seats, they're very easy to assemble. They're not cheap, but it has an inflatable lumbar support. So I have to put that in here, and this will be the right hand. This is the driver's seat I've configured it for, so I'll have it on my left. I have seat covers that I have made in South Africa by a company called Tuckler. They are outstanding. Best seat cover I've ever used by a long way, and it's because of the material that they use. Some proprietary material, not used, not the same as other seat covers, no sweat. I know I sound like I'm waxing lyrical about them, but they're really good. So and they have a pattern for the Expert M Recaros. Don't need to iron it because actually
does it decrease?
They decrease so quickly that after a very short time they'll look good. So put that in there. Nice, very, very nice. I've got about 1,000 kilometers on the Odo at this moment, so all of this I missed my Recaros. Plumber's crack. I can still bend reasonably for a 60-year-old, you know. I can also hit you. That's a proper seat. After a lot of research to find one that would fit the best, I settled on the Snowmaster 12-litre console fridge. It's perfect, really good. So with the Dream Tourer I had the Bushman 15-litre console fridge, which does not fit in the troop carrier, it's too wide. This is a 12-litre Snowmaster. In some ways I actually prefer the Snowmaster because it has a little compartment inside for nuts and chocolates and things. It's not just one bin, and a tall section for cool drinks. And because it fits snugly there, it's my armrest, and that's really nice. I need to cover that with something. I need to find a solution to cover that to make it more comfortable, but the height is, oh, that height is really good. Very, very good. And I experimented this with my first troop carrier, or the first Australian troop carrier, the green one. I also had the same fridge in between, but it was the fitting is not as good as this. I've improved it because I've lowered it by about this much, and this is altogether better. So on to the question of these side steps. My idea was very simple, and that was I've got another set of these that I could cut, lengthen, put the end caps on. There's another opportunity to add a bracket here. Practical, simple, cheap, light. But at the same time, I don't know if it'll look that good. It'll look like a bit of a homemade job, which it would be. I can't find any really good looking side steps that I can replace them with. I don't want rock sliders, they're too heavy. I don't really need them. And these will protect the bodywork to a point. And these, if they get damaged, well, it's not a train smash. So, and I don't want the weight of a rock slider. So what do? I have some made. And maybe with the idea that if I have them made, they can then be made again and ordered online. I won't sell them, but surely there's somebody out there that'll make a simple, lightweight, good-looking side step, full length, because it'll look good full length, for a troop carrier or a 79 or a 76 to replace this ugly thing. Well, that's what I'm going to try and achieve anyway. I have just installed my twin ARB compressor into a bracket. The bracket came from Quick Pitch. It's specially made for the troop carrier. We developed it when I was building my troop carrier in 2017, and they still sell it there, and there it is in the car, and it was very easy for me to mount it. I will be mounting the tank. You know why I love these tanks? Because when you're when you're moving from one tire to another, it still pumps. You actually save quite a lot of time, because once this is full, of course, the compressor turns off, and then you connect it to the tire, and it dumps all this air straight into the tire and does half the work while you're actually walking around. It actually speeds things up a lot, and I'm really spoiled. I did consider, you know, the thing is with this is a cheap one, and I actually bought it for the Range Rover crossing, and I had it in the car and I didn't need it. But again, I bought a really big one, and this is a King's Thumper Max. It was less than half the price of that. And you know, these cheap ones, they're actually not bad. They're actually really not bad. But having a portable pump, it's not really practical if you want to plumb it to a tank. So yeah, it's a cost-saving thing, but it's not a performance-saving thing. So this worked so well before. I was spoilt, and I determined, no, I've got to have the same. The interior design, I will of course show you that as well quite soon. All right, we've deliberated on and off and on and off, and the big question is, if I can get a glass gull-wing on that side, it has to be glass because I have to be able to see it. I cannot have a solid gull-wing on that side. If I can have a glass gull-wing, then I have choice of where I put stuff, and that glass gull-wing has been an issue to actually get one. So we've gone back to what we originally thought was a good idea, and that is fridge on this side. In other words, kitchen on this side, gull-wing, kitchen, storage, everything on this side. But on this side, a large bench area that I can actually sleep, even if the roof conversion is done, or before I have because the roof conversion is going to be done quite late in this process, because I'm still deciding about what I'm going to do with that. I haven't made up my mind finally. And the area here, very wide and open, but underneath it full of storage space. And so in fact there'll be an area from here right to the seat which is completely open. There might be the inverter behind the seat, but that only takes up about this much room. So and we're talking about 2 separate water tanks. But at the same time, the moment we start talking about 2 tanks, it starts becoming, okay, are we going a little bit too complicated with this? We want it repeatable. We want to be able to do it so that other people can say, okay, Andrew, I like your design. I'd like to order that configuration. And then, so it's got to be, so the simplicity is part of the goal. And it's so easy to over-design something and for it to get too complicated. So there are compromises along the way. But so far, what I've seen the guys do at ProCam Solutions, mainly Rob, who's doing the design, I'm very excited. And I should be able to bring that to you, I'm guessing now, within a month of the release of this video, I should be able to show you what the inside finally looks like. Welcome to the workshop. I am busy with the wiring up of the central switch panel. That's my Travel Buddy oven, water boiler, camping lights, LED bar, the Rockloom driving lights, my daylights, and that's standard, and a USB I've added there and there. So here it is. It took me about 2 hours or so to wire it all up. And I've marked all of the wires with what they are, and these 3 run to the engine bay via this multi-core cable there. The other 3, these 3, will run to the back of the vehicle via this multi-core cable that I have yet to run. It'll run underneath the carpet and go towards the DC hub at the back. And well, I'm almost ready now to start wiring that up. Now I'm not going to roll the camera while I actually wire it because it'll bore you to tears. That's quite fiddly work. That I imagine will take me about another 2 hours for it all to be wired up. And then all I need to do is trace the cables, and I make a note of each cable, the number of each of the cables in the multi-core cable. So now in the dashboard, in the engine bay, I'll mark each cable which switch they come from, and likewise in the back, each cable and which switch they come from. So in other words, all I need to do then is wire it directly to the relay or item, and the switch will then work. So that then is how it looks, and I must say I'm very pleased with that. So what do I do with the center console space? The Toyota consoles are pretty awful. And in my 2017 Troopy, I had a Department of the Interior center console, gorgeous, as I did in the Dream Tourer. But those are designed to carry switches. I don't need to do that anymore. I've got all the switches here. So it's going to be a waste of an opportunity by fitting one of their standard consoles. I want a console that can carry stuff like a Leatherman and maybe a small first aid kit, or and also the circular cup holders are very inefficient. Why do you make them circular? They should be square, because when they're square you can use them for fitting all kinds of stuff, as well as a space for a cup holder. So I think I might have to make this console myself. I've put the emblem on there with a little bit of silicone, and the decoration I also got from eBay. I had to trim them down to get them to fit, because these are little carbon fiber decorations, if you like, decorative bling, and they wouldn't fit, so I had to grind them down. Took me a while, but I've got to do something, because the background in there is actually quite ugly, so I did that instead. Doesn't look too bad. I wonder if I wouldn't have preferred those plain, but I couldn't find any plain. I could only find, these are the ones that looked the least blingy. Anyway, that is a lot nicer than what was on there before. I've also been considering what I should do about a water purification system. You see, I want something that is better than a house system, because potentially the water that we might collect and need to drink, or even drink by accident, might have bacteria and things like that. And so I have, well, I was going to say I found this, but amazing how the universe works. I was actually actively, and we know how algorithms work, I was actively looking for a water purification system. And out of the blue, an email arrived on my desk saying, Andrew, have you thought about putting a water purification system in your troop carrier? Would you like to take a look at this? Guzzle H2O. Alright, it comes with, so that's the cartridge, alright, and then this here, that basically electronically kills bacteria. I'm also having second thoughts about the wrap. This is the final blue that we decided on, a retro blue, which would look gorgeous, I have no doubt. But we've just wrapped a client's vehicle, an autograph troop carrier, with this Battleship Grey, and I have to tell you, it is drop dead gorgeous. Is it as nice as the blue? Yes and no. The reason why I love this is a standard wrap, 3M wrap. It's one of their standard colors, and I think their standard color chart needs looking at. I think it needs somebody with, yeah, their flat colors are yeah, they're either yellow, no subtleties, yellow or red or green. There's no nuance, you know. Let's do a green one. Well, we'll make it really green, and it's horrible. It's a horrible green. Nobody would ever choose that green unless they were doing something, you know, a specific display car, and they wanted it to look mad. no or very few subtle colours. That is a subtle colour. That is one of their few subtle colours. Maybe it needs a bit of black, a little bit more bonnet treatment, and because it's not a printed colour, this is a mixture of ink. This is a printed colour. In other words, the actual base goes right down through the actual layer itself. Alright, it's not printed. The results are that it lasts a lot longer. It's a lot stronger, more resilient to fading, and will just look better for longer than a colour that will eventually fade. They don't fade quickly, but sunlight does have an effect on this much faster than this. It's the bottom line. So I'm now sitting with a decision, because I have to make it soon. What colour do I actually do the wrap in? For those of you wondering why I'm doing the wrap protects the vehicle against branches and sticks and scrapes. It's far easier to clean, almost cleans itself, and I love the look of a wrap. That's gloss, and that is a satin sheen, which also is just gorgeous when it contrasts off the black. That's where I am right now with the colour swatch issue, and we'll be doing the wrap actually very soon, but I've got to make up my mind. By the time you see this video, I probably would have already made up my mind. Thank you so much for watching. These videos are made possible by contributions from Patreons. Join our Patreon family now.